situation that we've survived the last 2 months, and I hope we all survived through this pandemic and come out with better experiences to share with each other. So yes, moving on to our session today, I would be talking about the wow of positive attitude. Now, to begin the session, I think positive attitude or positivity is something that we all have heard. We've heard it so often that we see quotes on positive attitude being stuck in offices, being hung in college campuses, in classrooms, and I think a lot of people have them as their screensavers on the phone. And these days, I think with the technology, there are also a lot of apps that we can download on the phone, which are like a constant reinforcers of positive attitude. They keep sending you like a positive quote every 3 hours a day or every 2 hours a day. So with all of this being said, I think it is well established by now that positive attitude is very important, or positivity as a concept is very important for our lives, and has become an integral part of our lives. Now, in the session, as we go further, I will be discussing about what parts of our life has positive attitude and impact on. But before we go ahead, let us discuss what exactly this whole positivity is about. Now, a lot of us have heard people say that, you know what, it's important to have a positive attitude. You know, you should be optimistic in life. But a lot of times it can also be a little annoying trait, right? It can also be an annoying personality trait. Imagine that, you know, you've had a really difficult day. You've had a really, really hectic day and you are upset about it. By the end of the day, you're upset. And there's this friend of yours who comes really happy and excited and joyful and tells you that, you know what, you should actually learn to be positive. You know what, you're just not being optimistic in your life. So sometimes, as important as positive attitude is, it could also be a bit of an annoying trait sometimes, because imagine that if positive attitude was like a switch. Is it a switch that we just switch on and just which totally switches our mood from being sad and upset and dull to being happy, excited, and joyful? I mean, if it was that easy, like switching on a button, then we wouldn't be in that place, first of all, right? We wouldn't be upset about something. If positive attitude was really like a switch that you switch on and which completely changes your persona and your personality within a moment. So that brings me to the point that maybe a lot of us have a very, very limited understanding of what positive attitude or positivity means. A lot of us kind of equate positivity towards being happy or being really, really excited and energetic, right? That's what a lot of times that comes to our mind when we hear the word positivity. Now, I will pause for 1 minute, guys. So I'm not showing a PPT right now, guys, because I had some technical issue, but you guys don't really have to make a note of what I'm saying. I will send you the PPT after the session. Yeah, so please don't make a note of it. You don't really have to, you know, divert your attention from what I'm saying. So be assured that I will send you the material that's needed and which I'm covering in today's session. Yes, so since we have that cleared, as I was saying, a lot of us could have a very limited understanding of what positivity is, right? It is a lot of times synonymous with being happy, being excited. But I feel that there's a lot more towards positivity than just being happy and excited. Okay, when I was doing your research, I mean, when I was doing research for this particular topic in today's session, there was something that I found common across a lot of definitions on positivity. A lot of researchers have studied this topic of positivity. And one thing that was common across a lot of definitions given by researchers, philosophers, and psychologists is that positivity or positive attitude is more like a state of mind. Okay, it is a state of mind that you can achieve by putting in a lot of conscious efforts. So positivity is less of just one or two emotions, but it is a mixture or a combination of multiple emotions and multiple aspects of our behavior. Okay, and another thing that I found commonly across a lot of definitions of positivity is that it is always equated to being hopeful and optimistic in life. It definitely is, and I totally agree by this aspect that being optimistic and hopeful are truly a part of positive attitude. But I also feel that it could be a lot more things. It could be a sense of hope when you feel that things are very, very difficult for you, or you are not able to cope up with this really difficult situation that you're going through. positivity is also a sense of gratitude when you feel that things are not going the way they are and things are absolutely bad and life is very, very miserable. And positivity is also persistence and patience when you are on the verge of giving up on something that has been bothering you or something that has been really difficult for you over a period of time. And positivity is also being calm. Positivity is a sense of peace or sense of calm that you achieve even when things around you are very, very chaotic, even when you feel that things are absolutely out of your control. So positivity is a lot of these things. It is being hopeful, it is being grateful, it is being optimistic, it is being calm, having a sense of inner peace, being persistent, being patient. So positivity is a lot more complex and it involves a lot of human experiences than that we go through than just being happy and excited about something. Now, having said that, it is very much possible, and I totally understand when if someone who is struggling through a difficult phase in their life, or someone who is struggling or battling a physical illness or mental illness, to feel absolutely repelled when we even use the word positivity, right? They could even feel that is it even necessary when there's so much of negativity around the world, or when there's so much of negativity in my life. I totally get it. When you are going through struggle, it is really difficult to focus on the positive part, but it definitely can happen, but it requires a lot of conscious effort and a lot of push from our end, a lot of persistence in terms of the effort that we put in. Again, now it is similar to you can actually compare positivity or positive attitude as your pursuit towards learning a new instrument. Learning a new instrument is difficult, right? Learning a new musical instrument is difficult, and it requires effort from your end, and it requires persistence, right? Because you can't learn an instrument within one day, and you need to push yourself multiple times on multiple occasions and push yourself out of comfort zone to learn something new. And positive attitude is just like that. It is like learning something new, like an instrument, or learning a new programming language, or for that matter, you guys registering for this course. Positive attitude is just like this. It requires for you to dedicate certain time. It requires for you to dedicate certain effort, because positive attitude doesn't come naturally to a lot of us, or even if it comes naturally, it is difficult to maintain it over a period of time, right, in our life, as we go through a lot of experiences in life. So it does require effort to achieve this state of mind. We need to put in our conscious effort and constantly prioritize it as something really important in our life. Now, having said that, while I was researching more about positive attitude, I saw how positive attitude is related to a lot of things in life. It is linked to a multiple range of things in a person's life, starting from his body, his physiology, to his mind, and every psychological aspect of an individual. So I wanted to start off by discussing a little bit about the physiological aspect of positive attitude. Okay, and over a period of time, I think somewhere around early 20th century, a lot of scientists who just started studying, human behavior, human psychology, their thoughts and their emotions, they mainly focused upon the negative emotions that we have. They focused upon the idea of how people are affected by anxiety, sadness, depression, and they found that all these negative emotions have a profound impact on a person's health, a person's well-being, a person's emotional health, a person's mental health, a person's relationship styles. So after a set of researchers found the impact of negative emotions on our life, a lot of researchers felt that the area where people research on positive emotions is very, very limited. I mean, positive emotions and negative emotions are equally a part of human existence, right? We all have something called as the negative side to us, something called as the positive side to us. So when negative emotions can have such an impact, then obviously the positive emotions would be having an impact, right? So that is when around 100 years ago, around a century earlier, a lot of researchers gathered together and started researching upon positive emotions that human beings go through. Things like gratitude, optimism, compassion, kindness, humility. And that's when a new field in psychology emerged called as the positive psychology. Now, positive psychology in the last 2-3 decades, there has been immense research in it. There has been immense research, and if you guys even type the word positive psychology, you will get hundreds of articles on so many topics. So the field of positive psychology has reached this place wherein there's so much of effort, because there has been a lot of evidence which has been found which states that positive emotions have a greater impact on us than our negative emotions do. I mean, who knew that we experience positive emotions 3 times more than the negative emotions we experience in a day, right? So it is like 3 into negative emotions is equal to the positive emotions we feel in a day. So I experience happiness or joy 3 times more than I experience sadness in a day. And this is not just a random sentence that I'm giving you guys. This is actually backed by a lot of research. It has been found that human brain has a capability or has a sensitivity to experience positive emotions much quicker than negative emotions. So that means we don't need like huge reasons all the time to make us happy. We could actually experience joy even with the smallest of things that bring us happiness. So yes, having said that, the biological aspect of positive psychology, or the research in positive psychology, also states a very interesting fact. Now, I'm sure a lot of us know that our brain is made up of something called as neurons, right? We've all studied it in biology when we were in our school, that neurons, the little cells, these are the ones that kind of program our brain. The human brains are programmed by this little cell called as neurons, which are interrelated or interconnected to each other. And these interconnections form clusters. Okay, these connections are called as neuron networks. Okay, or neural networks. Now, these neural networks are very, very important. They are as important as us breathing right now, because these neural networks are the ones that determine how we function both physiologically inside our bodies, as well as psychologically inside our head, because they have an impact on every movement, every action, and every behavior that we have in our life. So these neural networks, it has been proven that if you engage a neural network or a neural connection more, the stronger it gets. That means the more I use a particular network, the stronger that network gets. It's similar to us working out. Okay, if we work on a particular muscle in our body, if we work out constantly on that muscle gets stronger, right? This muscle gets much stronger, and it can endure a lot more. It's similar in terms of our neural connections as well. The stronger or the more you use that neural connection, the stronger it gets over a period of time. That means if we have neural connections for positive attitude or for any positive emotion, and the more often we use it, the stronger it gets over a period of time. And the less often we use these neural connections, the more inactive they get, and they die out over a period of time. Now, this is a classic example for this is our memories, right? Some of our memories, we don't relive them that often. And eventually, over a period of time, these memories are lost. Okay, and a lot of people with like memory related disorders like Alzheimer's, these neural connections are lost, and hence they have no idea about these memories. And it is similar in terms of our positive emotions or any emotion for that matter. The lesser you use it, the more inactive it's going to get, and it's going to eventually die. So that means if I don't activate the connection of happiness more often, it's going to die. If I don't activate the connection of hope more often, it's eventually going to die down over a period of time. Now, this research was revolutionary in the field of psychology, because it showed that your behavior, the conscious effort that you put into evoking a certain behavior, has not just an impact on the way you feel, but it has an impact on what is happening inside your body and your brain as well. Now, there was another really, really interesting research that kind of blew my mind. I came across this research just yesterday while I was reading a little more for today's session. Now, this research said that 1% of our body cells, okay, 1% of our total body cells, they kind of renew or are created every day. They are renewed every single day in our life. So that means that today, all of us who are present here today, 1% of our body cells are being renewed right now today. And within 10 days, 10% of body cells are going to be renewed. And within 30 days, 30% of body cells are going to be renewed. And 100 days, 100 cells are going to be renewed. So that means that the more days you spend, the more your cells are going to be renewed. Now, another interesting fact about this research is that it was found that the structure of the cell, or the way this cell was renewed, did not depend entirely on a pre-made or a predetermined script. So the structure in which these cells were renewed, it was not at all affected by a certain DNA that we have or a certain gene that we have. It was not related to that at all. It was mainly affected by our emotions. Can you believe it? That literally blew my mind, because imagine that if I feel happy today, 101% of the cells in my body are going to have a better structure, are going to reflect my mood. And over a period of 100 days, 100% cells in my body are going to replicate or reflect the emotion that I have put into my body, or the emotion that I have experienced more often. So the more positive emotions I experience, the more positive the cell structure is going to be there in my body. So for a long period of time, I thought, and I'm sure a lot of us thought, that the way our cells are, the inside of our body, takes its own course, right? It happens by itself. And the way we think, it's its own course. So these are two very different things. One might impact the other, but not much. But this blew my mind, because imagine that you having all control of how your body functions and how every single cell in your body is formed. The structure of every single cell is absolutely within your control. So the more good things that you put into body, the more better your body actually is from the inside. And we all know that a better body is like the best place to be, right? So yeah, this was a bit of the biological aspect of how positive emotions actually affect us as people, affect our personality and affect the whole existence that we have today. Now, when I saw this research paper, it also kind of explained to me the concept that we as individuals, as we grow, our awareness and our perspective about things increase, and we as a person also change. This research could explain that to me, because as your cells are renewed every day, as your cells are renewed over a period of time, the more positive emotions you feed it, the more positive personality you have, right? So that kind of explained to me the broader concept that you are what you think, or you are what you feed to your body. So that was about the physiological aspect of positive emotions and positive affirmations. Now moving on to the psychological aspect of it. Now, talking about psychological aspect of positive emotions, okay, I think I hope I'm clear and you could follow what I've been saying so far, guys. Any doubts, please feel free to ask me at any point of time. I can explain them to you. I hope I was clear so far. Yeah. Okay, so moving on with the psychological aspect of positive emotions. Now, when we talk about psychological aspect, one very favorite theory of mine in psychology is the classical conditioning theory. Now, I'm sure all of you know it. You must have studied in your organizational behavior. And classical conditioning basically states that two unrelated actions or two unrelated stimuli, we form an association between them based on a common experience that we have. So two really unrelated things, our mind could connect and associate them just because of a similar experience that we had. Okay. Now, I spoke about this in our today's context particularly because this can actually explain a lot of our behaviors and a lot of our choices that we make, including the choice on remaining positive or remaining hopeful in life. Now, I'll get to why it explains it. Now, before I explain you, let me give an example. Now, this is summer, right? And summer evokes a lot of good memories in a lot of us. A lot of have that one special memory of summer that we think of every summer as we grow older. For me, it was a memory of having mangoes with my family members. Now, I'm sure there have been a lot of memories for all of you guys as well, which are particular to summer. And all of these memories, as we grow older, they all are still special to us, because we relate a part of it that we've experienced as a child, a very special positive emotions that we've experienced as a child. Now, imagine that as a child, you really enjoyed having mangoes with your families, and that was like a summer routine for you. So, as an adult, when you grow older, every time you have a mango, you still get this warm, fuzzy feeling inside you because you're associating it to this positive family experience you've had as a child, right? And this is similar, and this happens a lot of times to us, right? Even the most unrelated thing, the most random thing can remind us of someone really special or some very special experience that you had with a particular person, right? That is because our mind has the great and the creative ability to associate things. And imagine if we could use this to make ourselves more positive than otherwise. Imagine if the environment around you kind of pushes you towards reacting in a negative way, but you still have an ability to associate this to something much better. Okay, imagine that your brain associates a wall clock towards a very, very special experience that you've had. Now, every time you look at this wall clock, it reminds you of some special feeling. And over a period of time, this wall clock becomes a reminder to you for being more positive, or to give yourself a positive reinforcement in life. So that is the impact or the power of classical conditioning, and that is how we can actually wire our brain in different ways, and we can actually rewrite the negative thinking patterns that we have in our head. It has been proven that through classical conditioning, when you associate things to positive emotions and to positive affirmations, our mind actually has the ability to rewrite a traumatic experience. Imagine you having the power to rewrite a traumatic experience that you've been through, where it no more remains a painful experience to you, but it actually helps you grow as a person. So, positive thoughts or positive actions, when you apply the classical conditioning method, has the ability to rewrite traumatic experience, and it also has the ability to alter all the faulty mechanisms you have at the back of your head. You can alter all the faulty defense mechanisms that you have at the back of your head by using classical conditioning, and a lot of other techniques as well, which I would be discussing in the further session. So that was a little bit about the psychological aspect of how positive emotions can be inculcated within us, and how we can actually train our mind with a lot of effort, with persistence, and with the right technique to actually function in a much productive manner. Okay, now we've covered both physiological aspect as well as the psychological aspect of positive thinking, right? But what are the practical suggestions that help us in our day-to-day lives? What are some of the practical techniques or the practical points that help me be a better person every day? Now, there are about 7 to 8 ways in which we can be much more positive, or we can evolve to be a much better person over a period of time. The first one among them is called as the mindfulness technique. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the word, at least mindfulness. Mindfulness is something that is in right now. If you guys have the CultFit app on your phone, you see that there's an entire section dedicated on mindfulness, right? So mindfulness in the past 2-3 years has gained a lot of popularity. But what exactly is this mindfulness, right? I'm sure a lot of you must have heard these fitness gurus and YouTubers, Instagrammers, and a lot of social media influencers on health talking about being mindful. So mindfulness is the very simple aspect of being there in today's moment, being there in this moment right now, and experiencing what you're feeling in this very moment to the fullest. So mindfulness basically talks about living your life to the fullest in every single moment. Now, though as easy as mindfulness sounds to a lot of us, it is actually pretty difficult, right? Because a lot of our lives run on the autopilot mode. Like, we get up in the morning, we get ready, we go to college, we finish our classes, we come back home, we play a bit of PUBG, and we sleep, right? That has kind of been the autopilot routine that a lot of us have lived for a very long period of time. And it takes a lot of effort to consciously make a change, to make every moment meaningful, and to make every moment happy in your life. However, mindfulness talks about the innumerable benefits that we have if we are even 10 to 20% more mindful in our life. So that means every time you are kind of eating your food, at the same time you are using your mobile and chatting with someone, and you're watching another episode of some series on Netflix, and also having a conversation on your dining table. That means you're not living any of the experiences fully, right? Our attention and our memory is scattered, and only a minute percent of it is involved in all of these activities, and a major percentage of it is burdened by so many things that we have to do at one time. So we miss out on experiencing the little things, like appreciating the food that we're eating, or appreciating the taste of it, or actually tasting how the food feels. So one little activity that I would like all of you to do is, from today for a week, when you're having at least one meal of your day, be a lot more conscious of the food that you're eating. Okay, it could be as simple as putting your phone aside, not concentrating on anything else, but appreciating how the food looks, focusing on how the food looks, how it tastes, what is the texture of the food, how it smells, what is the aroma of the food. Just do it for one meal, and I'm sure you will start enjoying the experience of eating a lot more. And this can be applied in any part of our life. Imagine that you really put in your entire concentration while you're driving. You get to understand your body a lot better, you get to understand your mind a lot better, because you're actually living that experience moment by moment. And hence mindfulness is considered to be very, very important, because the more you invest yourself in these little moments of your life, the more you know yourself, and the more you know yourself, the more you understand what makes you happy and what doesn't make you happy, and more conscious choices you can make as an individual. So I would highly recommend a lot of you to at least do one action more mindfully. That is, even if you're taking a little 10-minute walk every day, or a little bit of exercise that you're doing, see how your body feels, see how your mind feels. If you're working on your arms, see how your arms feel every moment of the exercise. See where is the point where you're applying more pressure. I'm sure it will make every experience a lot more elaborate, and it make you realize how much goes on in the world around us, and a lot of times we don't even realize it, right? So please try this activity for a week at least, or even for 3 days, and I'm sure you will feel a difference within yourself. Okay, so that was the first technique, mindfulness. And the second technique is about maintaining a gratitude journal. Now, a lot of us know that gratitude is an important emotion, right? Gratitude is basically feeling thankful, or recognizing all the things that we have in our life, and being thankful about it. Okay, so gratitude is considered to be a very powerful positive emotions, because gratitude is like a chain reaction. Okay, it has a butterfly effect on our lives, because if you are grateful at one point of your life, you you realize a lot of other positive emotions related to it. So I would want all of you to also do this one little exercise more apart from being mindful. Just think of three things that you are grateful for right before you sleep every night. Just three things. They could be really simple things like taking a good shower, or having a good cup of coffee, or imagine if you're unwell, or if you're having a headache, just being grateful for the pillow in which you put your head on. Okay, because when you feel grateful, you stop taking things for granted. Okay, because you appreciate even the smallest and the slightest of your things in life, and that is a very, very humbling experience. It makes you a lot more humble as a person. It makes you a lot more compassionate. Yeah, and you start appreciating things in general. And as I said, it has a ripple effect. The more you appreciate things, the more you become positive from the inside. The more you can appreciate people around you, the better bonds you have in your life. So do this one little thing for me. Do one mindful activity, and do a gratitude exercise at least for a week. And the best time to do it is before you fall asleep. Okay, just dedicate 10 minutes of your day and note down three things that you're grateful for. Because trust me, if you do it for a period of time, imagine if you do it for a month, and you look back at this journal that you maintained after a month, you will feel amazing, and you'll see how much of progress you've had as a person. And those are actual motivators in life. Okay, And the next point is journaling. This is actually related to the gratitude journaling part that I discussed. Apart from maintaining or writing down 3 things that you're grateful for, you can also write about 1 or 2 things that stood out to you every day. Okay, if you maintain a diary, uh, maintaining a diary is actually a very, very good habit. There has been a lot of research which shows that maintaining a diary is a very positive reinforcement over a period of time, and it is a very strong tool in attaining a much better sense of ourselves and a much better understanding of our own personal growth over a period of time. So please start the mindfulness activity, try it at least for a week, and start the gratitude journaling. Just write down 1 to 2 points that you felt throughout the day, which were highlights to you in that day. Okay. And the fourth point is do nothing. Okay. Literally do nothing. And when I say do nothing, just take 15 minutes of your day, maybe right before you fall asleep, dedicate half an hour to you guys. Do 5 minutes of gratitude journaling and do 10 minutes of nothing. And when I say nothing, it means not using your phone, not chatting with anyone, not playing PUBG or any other game, not scrolling through Instagram, not stalking any person. Just do nothing and sit with yourself. Okay? Sit with your own thoughts. See how your day has been. What were the thoughts and the feelings that you felt throughout the day? Were there a lot of peaks and were there a lot of dips, or was it constant? Because the more you think of your feelings, the more you are able to understand what situation or which situation triggers what feelings in you, and you are actually able to avoid yourself from a lot of situations and avoid a lot of drama in your life. Because the more understanding you get of this makes me feel good and this makes me feel bad, you make conscious choices, right? You think twice before you venture into a particular situation, and you make better decisions, you make more positive decisions for yourself. So just take 10 minutes of your day to do nothing and just think about your feelings. Now when I say think about your feelings, I don't want you to tag these feelings as good feelings and bad feelings, or good thoughts and bad thoughts. Not at all. Please uh, free yourself from tagging these feelings as good feelings and bad feelings. Just let these feelings be. Constantly remind yourself that I'm going to be here with my feelings, with my thoughts, and just feel them. Feel them without the pressure of letting go of them or holding them too tight towards you. Okay, that actually helps. Trust me, all of these things might seem like little things which are almost insignificant, but when you are consistent with them, you will see a drastic change in yourself as a person. Now, as I say it, it's difficult for me as a psychologist also to do these things, though I'm asking you guys to do it. But when you start putting conscious efforts into doing these things, they actually make a hell lot of difference in your life. And it takes time for these things to show up their impact, but they truly do. So please do these things, at least these 2, 3 things which I've asked you to do today. And the fifth point that helps us in being more positive in our life is conditioning our brain to experience the little joys that we go through. This is again related to mindfulness. This is training our brain to extract happiness out of the ordinary things that we go through. Okay, extracting happiness out of the 10-minute chat that you have with your mom, or extracting happiness through one good lecture that you've heard, or extracting happiness through one happy memory you've shared in canteen with your friends. So train your brain to find out the good things out of even the small experiences. Okay, because we don't always have like huge, amazing, happy experiences in our life, right? They don't happen on a day-to-day basis. What happens on a day-to-day basis are these little moments of joy that we experience, and all of these contribute towards the state of mind which is called as positivity. Okay, so do nothing. And a lot of times, when I tell this to my clients in counseling sessions, they keep telling that how do I do it when I'm constantly bothered by these negative thoughts in my head? And there's so many negative thoughts in my head, how do I make even the little things seem happy? Okay, so one thing that I suggest a lot of times and that actually helps is that when you realize that you are very, very emotional, okay, when you realize that your negative emotions are very strong at this point of time, try to switch your brain towards the logical side. We all know, right? Our brain has the emotional side to it and the logical side to it. So every time you are going through this phase where you're high on negative emotions, you feel you cannot control these negative emotions, it'll be hard, but try to switch your mind towards the logical side of it. Because the logical side of it will ask you the question that why are you going through this experience? What is causing this feeling in you? How can you stop this feeling? So let your logical mind consciously question this emotional mind of yours. So every time you're feeling really low and you don't know why, switch to your logical mind and let your logical mind ask you why you're feeling bad. What is it that is making you feel bad? What is that exact emotion that is bothering you the most? Because what happens is the more you do it, the more you are able to switch to logical mind, the more you are able to differentiate between the logical brain and the emotional brain. And when you are able to distinguish between them, your ability to access them is much quicker. Okay, your ability to access this logical mind when you want and this emotional mind when you want is much quicker and easier. Okay, so this is one tip that I give to a lot of my clients in counseling sessions, and you can try it too. If you're having negative thoughts or you're too emotional about something, switch to logical mind of yours. It will take conscious efforts, it will be difficult, but it is definitely worth it. And it will help you overcome like a lot of difficult times in life. So yeah, the next thing that we would be talking about is uh, thinking positive, but not too much of it, and letting the negative emotions stay. Okay, as ironical as it sounds to our today's session, negative emotions are equally important, right? And a lot of times, I myself feel that positive emotions and positivity is too overrated. Okay, sometimes I feel that being positive just doesn't help you much in life. That's because being positive is important, but these negative emotions are equally important too. I don't know how many of you have watched this really nice animated movie called Inside Out. If you haven't watched it, please watch it. It's called Inside Out. This movie is a very beautiful depiction of how our negative emotions are as important or even more important than our positive emotions a lot of times. Because a lot of times, these negative emotions that we have, they help us make better choices in life. For example, imagine that you're really upset today and you want to cry. And when you are actually sitting with these negative emotions and you cry, you are giving another person an opportunity to be there for you. Okay, you're letting another person know that you're sad, that you need affection, that you need kindness from them. So a lot of times expressing our negative emotions and being with them helps us get the positive change that we want to have. Okay, a lot of times also when we are going through negative emotions, and a lot of you have come to me for counseling for that, that's because when you stay with these negative emotions, you start to accept help, you start to accept the support around you much better. Okay, and also a lot of times negative emotions like anger, expressing these situations can make a drastic change in your life. Imagine if you're someone who's being bullied in life, and once you express your negative emotion, you be really angry at that person and you show how unhappy you are, it could stop this traumatic experience altogether. So that means that you don't have to push away your negative emotions to be happy all the time. Not at all. That's not what I'm trying to say. But what I'm trying to say is that negative emotions are equally important. Stay with these feelings and experience these feelings. Don't push them away, because a lot of times the way out to our difficult situations could be these negative emotions, could be feeling and experiencing these negative emotions. So don't take them as the monsters or as the villains in your life. They are important as the good and the happy memories that we have, because they could push us towards making better choices. Because imagine if you had a heartbreak today, you will know, or you'll be more conscious the next time you do something new, or the next time you want to get into a relationship with someone, you are a lot more conscious, and that's because of the negative emotions that you had. So yes, don't push away these negative feelings, but keep them close to you. Don't let them overpower you. Okay, and the next one that I would be talking about is stop minimizing your success. Okay, a lot of times we have the habit of minimizing the little successes that we have. And also, if you guys remember, the first thing that I started today's session was with that all of us feeling grateful for surviving last 2 months. This was definitely a huge achievement, right? Because so many people around the world haven't survived these last 2 months. And maybe we're not giving ourselves the credit that we've actually gotten over a pandemic halfway. We have survived a deadly disease and we've made it. we've made it physically and mentally sane, right? That's very, very important. So celebrating little milestones and celebrating little experiences is very, very important in life. And a lot of times with our busy schedules and busy lives, we let go of it. We just forget about it. Okay. And the last point on the ways to achieve a positive attitude is stopping the all or none attitude. Now, when I say all or none attitude, a lot of us feel that only if we achieve something like getting a distinction, then we are worth something. If we even get 2% less than that, then we are absolutely nothing, right? Now, this attitude a lot of times could be very, very damaging. I know that we all have certain goals that we want to achieve, and a lot of times, even a little less than that is not okay, right? Because we miss that opportunity. But in other things wherein you don't have to be all or none, please understand that this attitude could be damaging. Maybe your worth is not decided by this all or none attitude. Maybe you are worth a lot more than just that 1 or 2% that you've gotten less. So if you are someone who struggles with this perfectionist attitude, or if you feel that you have to do the best at everything, we are humans, we all are imperfect and flawed. It's impossible for us to be perfect at everything. So yeah, these are some of the ways in which we can be more positive people in our life, and incorporate a more positive attitude and outlook towards our life. Now, lastly, I would want all of you to visualize something for me. Visualize a beautiful garden that is flourishing, that is lush and green, versus a garden that's dull and dry and withering. Now, we all, at least most of us, would want to make the choice of this green and lush garden, right? We would want our lives to be like this lush garden that is blooming with flowers, that blooming with fruits, which is so beautiful and so refreshing and peaceful to look at. And that's how we all want our lives to be, right? We all want our lives to be this way. But what is important to understand here is that this garden that we've chosen, the green garden, is green and healthy because of all the effort that has gone into making it green. It's the same with our lives as well. If you want your life to be bright, vivid, colorful, full of happiness and joy, full of endeavors, successful pursuit, it does require a lot of efforts for you to put in. I'm sure all the movies and all the series tell you otherwise, that if you're lucky, then you're lucky. No, a lot of times, luck, you write your own destiny. A lot of times, you put in the effort that you have to change your life and divert it the way you want to. I mean, a lot of us could be struggling with certain illnesses, physical, mental, and it might require us to put a lot more effort than the other group, right? But let me tell you that it will all be worth it eventually. At a point in your life where you look back and feel that you've done what you should have done, and you'll actually be proud of yourself. So, yes, I think I would end my session here today. And as takeaways or as activities that you should be doing, I would definitely encourage all of you to do the mindfulness activity. Do just one thing, being more mindful about it. Could be eating a meal, taking a walk, or cooking something, or even taking a shower. Be more mindful of how you're feeling, how the water is, the temperature of the water, how your body feels against water. So, do the mindfulness activity and start a gratitude journal. Just take a little notebook, start writing every day. What are the things that you're grateful for? And trust me, over a period of time, uh, I hope you're not in a bad space, but in case you are in a bad space, this will be a wonderful reminder for you to still have hope in life, still have encouragement in life. Okay, guys, so I would like to end my session here today. And Anurita ma'am, Roy sir, uh, I think if there are any doubts for the students, they can ask them to me now, or we can have a discussion.
Yes, I
Hello,
think
ma'am.
everyone can unmute themselves and they can start with their questions.
Yeah,
Seema,
yes,
ma'am.
yes,
Ma'am, I have read somewhere this.
Yes,
You know,
Vaishnavi.
if you use more negative words while speaking with
right.
anyone or to yourself, you attract more negativity towards yourself. So why
Absolutely.
don't you?
Hello.
Yeah,
So why don't you convert that negative words in a positive way? See, positive words like, see, I hate tea. Rather than saying that, I prefer coffee than tea.
absolutely,
So
absolutely. There's something called as reinforcement or positive affirmation. You guys have heard of the word affirmations. this talks only about what you just said, that the more negativity you give or you put in the universe around you, the more you get it back. Okay. Now, this is a bit related to karma as well. Now, not venturing into that aspect, but psychologically, in a scientific way, the more negative you feel, you end up making more negative choices in life. And when you make negative choices, you have negative consequences to it. So that's why we say that if you feel positive, you make better decisions in your life, and that's how you end up choosing the life for yourself. And as you said, absolutely, replace I hate something with I prefer something. It will be difficult, but try.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
Anyone else, guys? Any doubts you had? Any part you couldn't understand, or any part that didn't make sense to you?
Negative part, ma'am.
Negative?
Part, the negativity part, I could not get that.
Anything specific from what I said, or just the whole idea of negative thoughts?
Like you said, we need to keep the negative part for our self improvement or something. You said.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So,
What is that?
see, a lot of us, we aim, our ultimate aim in life is to be a good person, right? We want to achieve more things. We want to be a more positive person. And we feel that happiness is important, peace is important, success is important, contentment is important. But a lot of times we feel that sadness is not important, right? Sadness is not important. Uh, some feelings of depression, some feelings of anger, anxiety, these are not important to us, right? But a lot of times, you as an individual will be able to appreciate or work towards being more positive only if you have experienced negative feelings and if you've dealt with them. For example, the bullying example that I gave. Imagine that there is a person who has been bullied over a period of time. Bullying is a bad thing. Nobody should indulge in something like that. But if this person has been bullied over a long period and he's really angry about it, so if you don't let this anger of yours out, if you don't express this anger, if you don't talk about this negative feeling of yours, you might never be able to stop this experience, right? Similarly, for a lot of choices that we make in our life, if we've experienced sadness, we consciously make choices to make us happy and not sad, right? So, a lot of times for you to appreciate positive emotions, for you to feel positive emotions, it is important for you to experience your negative emotions as well, to stay with these feelings as well. Did I make sense? Did you
Yeah, ma'am.
understand?
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
all about experience, actually, right?
Yes, it's about experience. It's about a lot of things actually. We can't say it's just experience. It is a
Like
lot of things. It is the
basically, you
experience.
mean okay, ma'am. Continue. I'm listening to you.
Yeah, so it has to do with your experience, the people that you're dealing with, the priority that they have in your life, or the priority that this particular incident has in your life, and also the phase of your life, right? For example, what might seem like a negative experience to you today, 5 years down the line, it might seem like a small or a silly thing or even a funny thing to you. So a lot of things in your life determine how you feel or what are the negative emotions that you're going through. Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am. I get it.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else, guys?
Ma'am,
Uh,
Ma-
One second, right? And someone who asked me this doubt just now, I would highly encourage you to watch this movie Inside Out. It's a beautiful movie. If you watched it, please rewatch it. It's a lovely movie. It's an animated movie, and it talks exactly about this negative feelings and positive feelings. So please watch it.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. I will.
ma'am,
Yeah.
how about this Pursuit of Happiness? This is also a very good movie, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lovely movie too. It talks about being hopeful in life. One thing that I
Yeah.
learned in this movie is that life can be like a roller coaster to you, that you can never predict how life is going to be, right? It can give you
Yep.
bad things, it can give you good things, but in the end, always be hopeful and work hard for what you want in life, right? So please watch that movie as well. It's a lovely movie to watch.
Yes, ma'am. Sure.
Yes,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
and one more question. We can take motivation from the negative things also, right? What
Yes,
is it?
absolutely, absolutely. You know, as I just said, that if you had a heartbreak, if you had a breakup with your partner, the next time you get into a relationship, you're going to be very, very conscious, right? So that's a
Yeah.
lesson that you learn from your heartbreak.
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Any other
Seema,
doubt?
ma'am,
Yeah.
how see you said in your fifth point, like try to convert into logical thinking than this
Yeah.
emotional thing.
Mhm.
So how come we'll improve that thing, ma'am? See, most of the time we think in emotional way. So
Right.
how we'll
Right. See, my basic point there was that whatever is the dominating side for you, for a lot of us, the dominating side or dominating part of our personality could be the emotional side. And for some of us, the dominating part could be the logical side. My intention was to encourage you to switch to the other side, which is a non dominant side. For example, I'll give you a specific example here. Imagine that today I had a fight with my friend. Okay. I had a fight with my friend and I'm really upset about it. Okay, and when I had this fight, it reminded me of all the negative things that she's done in the past. Okay, all the hurtful experiences that I've had. Okay, and I'm really upset about it. I'm crying about it. I don't know how to handle my feelings. I'm feeling a lot of things. Okay, I'm feeling a lot of things within me. So what I do is I take a moment, I pause from these feelings, and I ask myself, okay, I've had an issue with my friend now, but what are all the other feelings that I'm experiencing? Are they related to the situation that I'm going through? No. A lot of them are because of something that has happened in the past. But does that hold value now? Okay, why am I still being affected by something that has happened in the past? Does it mean that I have not overcome this feeling? So what I do, I question myself logically like this, and I in accordance to however I question myself, I do the right thing. Now if I've questioned myself that why are you getting affected by something that happened last year, that means you're not over it. So what I do, I go to my friend and I tell her that, you know what, not just this, but what you did last year also hurt me. All these things are the ones that hurt me as a person. Please don't do them. Okay? And trust me, it's not this easy, but it requires for you to make conscious effort, guys. When you're upset and sad, question yourself like how another person would question you. Okay? Be the devil's advocate for yourself. Okay? That's what I'm trying to say. And if you're someone who's very, very logical and practical, and people constantly say you, hey, why don't you think with your heart ever? Why are you always using your brain? Use your heart, use your emotions to think about it. When you're solving a problem that involves a lot more people in it, don't be self-centered and don't be extremely logical about it. Also be sensitive about it. So that's what I was trying to say.
thank you,
Does
ma'am.
that, I hope that answers your question.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Anybody else, guys?
Ma'am,
Yeah.
what are the things in our life which makes us stop thinking positively?
So there are a lot of things, sir. These are called as triggers, you know. These are called as triggers in psychology. TRIGGERS, triggers. Anything can be trigger to us. A movie can be a trigger to us. It can stop us from thinking positively. A person can be triggered. A thought can be a trigger. Uh, uh, a physical object like a pen can be triggered. For example, if I've had a bad experience while writing with this pen, this can actually stop me from being or thinking positively, right? So a trigger can be anything, but they differ from person to person. For some of us, triggers could be our thoughts. Okay. For some of us, triggers could be people that we see. For some of us, triggers could be some places. We go to a particular place, it makes us feel very, very negative because we've had a negative experience in that place. However, we can't really stop them from having an impact on us, right? A lot of times, these triggers, they automatically bring the negative side in us. But when you know that this is a trigger and this could make you feel bad or take you back to this negative emotions, you consciously either avoid it or you make peace with it. Okay, you make peace with it so that it doesn't affect you much or so that it doesn't have that control on you. Yeah, did I answer your question?
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you. How to identify those triggers and keep
So
away
the
from them?
only way to identify these triggers is to understand your feelings. Okay, to be with your feelings. A lot of times people say, right, you know what, this place is actually very negative. I'm feeling weird. I'm feeling very, very weird. Now, this weird, we don't know what that weird is a lot of times, but it makes us feel at unrest. We feel very uneasy. So noticing these feelings of yours, noticing how you're feeling in particular places that seem negative to you. Okay, for example, imagine that you are talking to someone. You are talking to this person after a long time, and talking to this person makes you feel very bad. You feel insecure in yourself. You start becoming conscious about yourself. Observe these feelings, notice these feelings from time to time, because that will be a hint that it is something about this behavior with this person or something in conversations with this person that makes you feel bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, madam. I felt that these questions will help all our students. That's why I asked. Thank you, ma'am.
We do a lot of times because when I come across people in counseling sessions, they keep saying that when I'm around this friend of mine, I feel very, very insecure. I feel that they are constantly judging me. I don't feel good about it. That's because your conversation with this person or something about the behavior of this person makes you feel very negative. And you can understand that only if you understand these feelings that you're going through and not just call them weird, but understand what are these feelings in specific.
Ma'am, hello.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ma'am, if a certain feeling is bothering us,
Yeah.
so suppose there are two persons, let it be me and the person in front of me.
Okay.
So there is a task, and for me it's for the positive thing, and for her, I mean for the person in front of me, it's the negative side. If I do
Okay.
a certain thing,
Hmm.
so which is better, if I do it or if I do not?
See, okay. So you're basically saying that if two people are involved in a situation, for
Yeah.
one person it is a good thing, and for the other person doing that is a bad thing. It's a negative thing. So what do you do in a situation like that? Now, what you have to focus here is that this situation has arisen because for you something is right, and for the other person something is absolutely wrong.
But
That means
we don't know, ma'am. Like we are not sure about if that is wrong for that person or not.
okay, they just feel it's wrong, is it?
Yeah.
I mean, we feel that it's wrong for them, but somewhere we feel that it's also right for them, like somewhere.
Okay. So when you're unsure if it's good for that person or not, think about it from their perspective. That's when empathy helps, Put yourself literally in their shoes and think, if I am this person, if I'm this X person, would it be beneficial to me? And what I would say is, if you're doing something for someone, do it and let them have the choice of choosing it or not choosing it. Okay. For example, if you're doing for something, or example, if there are two people working on an assignment, one doesn't want to do it and one wants to do it, uh, at least establish a common grounds in situations where you can, or when you don't really, when that person is not actively involved, think about the situation from their perspective. Think about, will they benefit from it? And even if there's a slight doubt that they might not benefit from it or it could be bad for them, take opinions of people around you. They always help. Take opinions from people who are neutral.
Ma'am, different people give different opinions, and it's
Yeah.
just
Pankaj, 1 second. I think you have many questions.
Sir, and you can DM it to me.
yeah, ma'am, sure.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Yash, you can start with the closing speech.
Today was the second session of our finishing school program, and it was taken by a counselor of a college, Miss Seema ma'am. As we all know, ma'am is a highly skilled and dedicated mental health professional. We learned a lot from on the vows of positive attitude, on how we can maintain it in spite of all experiences that we go through in our life, how we need to make a conscious effort and a sense of calm. We learned from enjoying every small moment we experience, to being mindful, to maintaining diaries, to doing nothing and just sitting to analyze our thoughts. We also learned that sometimes having negative thoughts can help us gain some positive attitudes. Thank you, ma'am, for such an impactful session.
Thank you so much, guys. I absolutely loved taking this session with you guys. And I loved how so many of you had so many doubts. I feel that you guys have actually heard me and not just muted me and not heard me. So it's a good feeling, and I really enjoyed sharing this information with you guys. And thank you, Yash, for the kind words.
Yeah, Yash, of